Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video we're discussing The Crossing Places, written by Elly Griffiths, as the first book in the Ruth Galloway mystery series. Yes, another series. I don't know why I keep starting new series, but I walk into the library, see book one, and I grab it. I've just got to start every series that I see for some reason. There has to be a maximum number of series you should have going at any one time. I'm not sure what that is, but I think I should be close to it by now. This book, and I hope the rest of the series, is very atmospheric. It's set in a part of England where there's a lot of fog, a lot of rain. Everything can be very dark and mysterious, and I love that atmosphere. Ruth Galloway is also an archaeologist, and I love the fact that's brought into the book as well, into the mystery. It has a lot of historic elements in this book as well. So if you like things like that, where it brings history, archaeology into the murder mystery, you'll love this book. So Ruth Galloway is a lecturer in archaeology, and I just love that element in this book. It brought so much life to the book, even though I was talking about the past. It brought so much life into the mystery, and I love that history element. And the archaeology element as well just brought a freshness into this murder mystery series. Because I haven't really seen murder mystery series where archaeology is so prominent. I've read other series where we've got forensics, like bones, things like that. But archaeology, never seen that in a murder mystery series before. So I did really enjoy having that injected into this book. She's approached by a policeman, DCI Harry Nelson. They found bones somewhere and it ends up being nearby her house, not far. So she lives in a very secluded part of England where her house is, and there's a few houses right near her, but they're secluded from everywhere else. And they live not far from the ocean, but to get there you've got to go across a lot of kind of estuary type landscape to get there, and it can be quite dangerous in the night. If you get lost, you could find yourself trapped in freezing cold, in the middle of the tides coming in. So that has a lot of atmosphere in this book where she lives, and I just love that, because just having that character in that situation where she lives, that could play a central role in this whole series. They think the bones may be of a girl who went missing 10 years ago, but upon investigation, they're not. They're from a body from many, many years ago, centuries ago. So the police are a bit, miffed about that. They wanted to get this 10-year-old case solved. Unfortunately, they can't at this stage. Not long after Ruth discovers those bones are not from the case 10 years ago, a 4-year-old girl goes missing. Also, Harry Nelson has been receiving letters, mysterious letters from somebody, and they seem linked to the case 10 years ago. Because with the case 10 years ago, he was receiving these taunting letters from somebody, and they seem to have a lot of phrases and words from different books, the Bible and other books and other things that are linked to archaeology and history. And Ruth agrees to help him with that, and she goes through all the notes and she works out where all these phrases come from, these words come from. And also, some of the words seem very linked to archaeology, and you'd have to know specific details about archaeology to know some of those terms, because they're not terms used by people in everyday use. That makes Ruth think that the two cases, the case of the girl being kidnapped 10 years ago and the case of the girl being kidnapped now, are linked to the ancient druid sites on the marshlands. Other than the case, which is very engaging, very interesting, other things are going on with the characters. We have Ruth's ex-husband contacting her and wanting to visit. We've got Ruth's old mentor and friend also coming to visit, and he's going to start a dig in the marshlands, and he wants to dig near some of the sites where these bones are being found. Also, what's going on with Ruth's friend Shona? They're very good friends, but something going on with Shona. Shona's acting a bit mysterious about certain things, and Ruth starts to question that as the book goes on. Is there something that Shona is not telling Ruth, something that's joined to the case? Also, Ruth and Harry Nelson are getting close. How close are they getting? Are they getting too close? Harry Nelson's married. What does that mean? What's going to happen between Ruth and Harry? We see some tension building up between them both as this story goes on. Also, some things are starting to happen to Ruth. Someone seems to be threatening her, doing things to frighten her. She's receiving threatening messages. Someone also kills one of her cats. Is it because of this case that she's been asked to help on? Who's out to get Ruth? Is she safe in her home? Remember, she's in a part where it's very isolated, and most of the time she only has one neighbour. There's a couple of other houses there, but they're usually vacant, and usually only people come and visit during the summer when it's nicer weather there. So she's very isolated, and it's very dark, very rainy. Just that whole atmosphere. It feels very gothic sometimes. And that just adds to this book, adds to the tension, because we don't know if Ruth herself is going to survive. Will she be a victim as well in this crime? I thought that all of the characters in this book were very well written, well crafted. They were all very believable, and they all seemed well rounded, and they all seemed to have really good histories, backstories that really played well into their current motives and actions. The first is Ruth, our main character. She's a very interesting character, and I love the fact that the authors created her as being a lecturer, a professor in archaeology. It just adds something else into this book, and it just makes her a more interesting character in my opinion. I liked her sarcasm, I liked her humour, her look on life. I like the way she's not perfect. She knows she's not perfect, and she doesn't want to be. She just expects people to take her as she is, and she does the same. And I like the fact that there's no frills with her. Everything is very down to earth and grounded. It makes for a very interesting, engaging, and believable character. Harry Nelson is another good character. He's very complex. He's got a lot of different elements to him. And I like the fact that there's this thing about him, he likes lists, he likes order. And that seems to be something that Ruth and Harry both share. They both like to have a structure to things, an order to things. He's also very intelligent, but seems to hide it a bit. He's got his own flaws. He can be very quick to get angry, and he knows that about himself. But he's also very compassionate, and he shows that at different stages in this book. So he's got these different parts to him, these different elements to make up his whole personality. And I like the fact that we've got this complex character in this position in this book. It's very different, very engaging, and it makes him seem just very real. Shona is Ruth's best friend. She's also a professor. I liked that she was different to Ruth. She was almost opposite to what Ruth is. And you often wonder in this book how they're such good friends, because they're so opposite. She's very vibrant, very outgoing, very lively. She likes to attract men to her. All the things that Ruth isn't and doesn't want to be. But they're such good friends. But there's something else about Shona. There's some mystery. And she's not telling Ruth something. And will that come out as the story goes on? I won't tell you that. But it just makes up all this character. She's very complex, very well rounded. And she makes for another engaging and very believable character. The Crossing Places is a really good book. Very good first book in a series. I love the archaeology and historical elements. I love that they're injected so much into the present day crime that's being investigated and made for a very engaging, interesting and exciting read. I rate this a 4 out of 5. I'm looking forward to reading the rest of the series. I hope I can get all the books in the series because I do want to read them all. I think the characters are great. The main character, Ruth Galloway, is such an interesting and engaging character. I want to know more about her and read more books where she is the star. I do review other mystery books on my channel. If you don't want to miss out on those videos, check out my channel and subscribe. There's also a mystery playlist on my channel. Should be on your screen now.